Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning into Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on this elephant tree, Opercularia dicarii. It's a native to Madagascar, and it's called elephant tree because of the trunk. The trunk is gray and knobby, much like elephant skin. Not to be confused with elephant bush, which is the Portulacaria afra, which we all know is a dwarf jade. Elephant bush is so called because it's a native to South Africa and the elephants actually eat it. This is a native of Madagascar. And it's an interesting story how I got this tree. We had a display, and a friend of mine had this on display, and it was much smaller, not as far as height, but as far as width and branching. And it had almost no leaves, zero. So I yelled at her. I said, "How come you're not taking care of this any better?" And so she said, "Well, okay, well, you take it and you take care of it." So she gave it to me. So that's kind of odd. Anyway, as soon as I got it home, I fertilized it and started watering it, and of course it just took off. I also immediately took cuttings, and pretty thin cuttings. And I treated them like just about any other cutting. I took it off the plant. I immediately dipped it in some rooting hormone, put it in the cutting mix tray, and I got nothing, zero. So now I've been studying it a little bit. I went online, learned that there's also a tree native to southeastern United States called elephant tree, which is an entirely different tree. And I also learned that these guys are a massive succulent, and that if you're going to take cuttings, you really need to let the wound heal for a day or maybe even two, and then put it into the rooting medium. And much like elephant bush, the dwarf jade, I'm not sure if you even need root tone. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to take some cuttings. I acquired this tree in August of last year, and now it's coming to the end of July, so I've had it just about a year. And I took cuttings that were very small, so you could see how much it's grown, and it's pretty crazy. It's also in a really small pot compared to the size of the tree. But that's how I got it, and I've been a little reluctant to repot it because I'm just not all that familiar with this tree. I've never had one before, so I don't want to hurt it. And actually, let's do a little bit of a close-up here. Walk up a little closer. I'm about 6 feet away from the bench just to get it all in the frame. And I absolutely just hate ugly roots. And this tree's about as ugly as it gets. Although what's hilarious is when I went online and I started looking at pictures of other elephant trees, they were all like this. Every single one of them had bizarre, twisted, ugly roots. So, because I really was thinking of trying to bury the whole thing up to about here, so that all those roots would be hidden. Now that I've looked at the way they grow naturally, I'm not entirely sure that I'm going to do that. I also found some very interesting videos where they took root cuttings. So they had the trees, much smaller than this, torn out of the pot, all the soil removed, and then they cut the roots. So like this root here, you can imagine it's got feeder roots down inside, and then they just cut it off and planted that in soil, and that will root. I'm not about to do that with this tree because I don't really want to disturb it that much. So, and a lot of times they talk about, oh, only water it every 2 weeks in the winter and only once or twice a week in the summer. And I'm watering this guy basically every single day. He's just on my benches with all the rest of my trees, and he gets water every single day. So it's grown like crazy. As far as the styling, it did get a cutback right here. And then I really don't know what else to do with it as far as styling. I mean, I have, obviously you want first branch, second branch, back branch, apex, taper. I've seen some very interesting bonsai trees. Many of them look like this though, fairly straight. This one has a little bit of a curve. I'm thinking of taking this off here and using this small section right here, even though it's almost horizontal now, and bringing it up as the apex, because it has a little bit of motion. It would create more taper, and that would give me a really nice cutting. But I tell you what, I have to tell you, I'm afraid. I don't want to hurt it. Oh my God, I sound like a beginner. Been doing bonsai for 40 years, and I don't want to hurt a tree, because that's like the single biggest beginner. When you chop a tree back to almost nothing, they're like, oh my God, you've hurt it. So what else do I say about this thing? I don't really know. I think what I want to do is get some success with the cuttings. Get some of those growing. And then I'll be a little more adventurous with this big guy, because I'll have some more, if you understand that philosophy. And if we look at it right now, the two main branches, we have one branch coming right at us, which needs to go, and the two main branches are almost perfect bar branches. And then the lower branches, for some reason, have not thickened. The thickest branches are way up here, about 2 feet into the tree. And all this leggy growth coming out this way, all this stuff on top, that has all grown since I've had it. It was much more compact, and like I said, virtually leaf-free. So today I'm just going to take some cuttings, and I think I'm going to try something about, like this size. But let them callus I'm going to let them callus for 24 hours, basically. So cut them off. I'll probably take them inside, so that because we're expecting rain. Let them callus for a day, and then put them into a rooting mix and see if I can't get some cuttings. This thing also is supposed to flower in the winter, followed by little orange berries, but this one has not done that yet. So an interesting tree. My plan was, before I learned that this is pretty much a natural phenomenon, was to slowly, over time, give it a wider pot that was deeper and try to drop it down and cut some of the roots off, which now I could take cuttings, if that's... So that's my plan for this tree. Is, I hate to admit it, but I'm afraid of it. And so take some cuttings, attempt to get some success. Then once I can start growing those cuttings out, then I'll get a little more adventurous with this guy. And as far as like the pot size compared to the tree, it's way, way, way too small, especially how I've got it. But even when I got it last year, the way my friend was growing it, it was still a pretty small pot. As far as proportionality, typically you want a bonsai pot to be about 2/3, the length of the pot to be 2/3 the height of the tree. And I've still got some leftover pots that are still on the bench here that I'm going to grab. Just, you can hear them clinking. So like this guy right here, way, 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 way too shallow, but probably a pot that wide and as deep as the one that's in would immediately make this tree look more robust, whatever, I don't know. So anyway, taking the cuttings is, well, you just chop off limbs. And like I said, I'm going to heal them over for a day. And so I guess I will post this video now, and then tomorrow, after I've let the cuttings dry for 24 hours, then I'll do part 2, where I actually take those cuttings and stick them into the rooting media. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Does anybody else have any of these trees? If you do, please leave a comment, let me know, or maybe even you can email me a picture at bonsaibyallen@gmail.com. And subscribe, and you can watch this guy develop, or not. And that's about it for today. I'm not really going to take videos of taking the cuttings, because I think we all know how to take cuttings. You take some scissors and you chop. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.